Welcome back to Hardcore Ultimate Iron Man. A very simple quest for the start of today. Made much more difficult by the whole Ultimate Iron Man thing. All we need is an axe, a knife, and some runes. I'm gonna get about 200 casts of Fire Strike. That's more than necessary, but better safe than sorry here. Everything should work out fine, but there is some risk for this quest. Not really a risk to my life, but more of a risk to my items. But we will get to that. The quest starts here with this adventuring party. They've got a wizard, an archer, a monk, and a warrior. Just kind of hanging out here on the edge of the Lumberge Swamp. And they're out here searching for Xanaris. And that is supposed to be a secret, but this warrior, apparently not the brightest. So we can trick him into giving us the information we want. We ask, who's Xanaris? And he is so confident about how smart he is that he tells us that's not a person, it's a city. And how do you find the city? I can tell you. Then we insult him by saying that he doesn't know. And that's a good trick, because he just tells us to look for a leprechaun in a tree. And it's definitely not around here. Thanks for the help. He's doing his best. The tree that you need is this one right here, which is chop tree and not chop down tree. How they have not managed to find this tree yet is a good question. They must have just gotten here. Anyways, we found the leprechaun. He's not too happy about me trying to chop down his house. He tells us that the city is in a shed. And that doesn't make a huge amount of sense. But that's because we have not had the item required to use the magical shed portal. We need a Draymond wood staff from a Draymond tree on Intrana. And that is a massive problem. Because we are not currently allowed to go to Intrana. So a workaround is required. All of our combat items, and some things that are less combat items but they still count, like the axe and the pickaxe, not allowed on Intrana. So we need to get rid of them. But we also want to keep them. So it's back to the table. Unfortunately, the Arty cloak is not tradable, so it's not allowed on the table. And we're definitely going to be on Intrana for more than 2 minutes. So the Arty cloak is saying goodbye. We can retrieve this later easily enough, so not a huge loss. There always is some risk to the table method. if your internet disconnects or somebody walks on by and picks them up. We're still very early in the account, so losing this stuff right here, not a huge concern. I mean, I'd like to not lose my Rune Scimitar if at all possible. And the accuracy is tradable, so that'll work. Still have these bronze arrows for later. And the Rune Scimitar. Look at that nice pile of stuff. Oh, you can only see a few things. But now it's time to run, because we've got to get this done in the next 10 minutes. Which honestly should not be a problem. Quickly hop on the boat. Over to Entrana. This is definitely one of the longer instances you need to be on Entrana for. But for the most part, not a huge problem. I still think I would prefer to drop my items up on the table instead of right next to the boat. Even if I was only going to come here for less than a minute. It's just safer. Less people will be likely to go upstairs in Port Sarim. We need to head down into this hole. There's a lot of problems in here. Like the prayer drain and the fact that the exit goes to the wilderness. We have thought ahead and brought teleportation runes. So we are A-okay on that front. We need to get a branch from a tree, but we're not allowed to bring an axe. So we are killing zombies in an attempt to get an axe. Not gonna bother trying to safe spot the zombies or anything. They're literally only level 25. I think we'll be fine. Ultimately, we're going to be having to do this process multiple times in the future. Because anytime we aren't allowed to have untradeable items or combat items, we're going to need to drop the staff or get rid of it. And also possibly just for inventory space purposes in the future. It's going to be a thing that keeps happening, having to come back here. But it's okay. Eventually, we'll be able to get the ability to not need a Drayman staff. That is very far away. I'm not going to worry about that quite yet. I think we might need Questscape for that. I think that's one of the requirements for the Elite Diary there. Anyways. Fire strikes, fire strikes, fire strikes. And there's the bronze axe. Perfect. Alright. Now we just need to get our way past these greater demons. And by get past, I mean literally just walk past. It's perfectly fine. Chop the tree. Run behind the mushrooms. Do a really bad job of running behind the mushrooms. Run behind some different mushrooms. Okay. That would have worked. Alright, we got it now. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can more accurately click on him. Or her, I suppose. It's a tree spirit. Yes, Fire Strike continues to work wonders for us. Very effective. No real danger here. Unless somebody has went and grabbed all our stuff. It's a possibility. Fairly unlikely, but it is a possibility. It's going to continue to get more dangerous every time we have to come back here in the future with better things sitting on that table. Eventually this could get highly problematic. And there's no real way to stop other people from picking them up. Like, even just having a guard account in the area wouldn't matter, because by the time we'd be able to get back there, it would already be too late. Anyways, there's the Drammond branch we need. This would be the point on a non-ultimate Iron Man where you would grab a whole bunch of additional branches for later use. But we do not have a bank, so one Drammond staff it is. And now, instead of going out to the deep wilderness, we're back to Falador, where we can run back down and reclaim our stuff. Probably. And our stuff is still there. Fantastic. Well, except for the cloak, but that's just how it's going to be. Now we just need to head to Lumbridge. After looking in this bookcase, I guess. And head into the shed to finish the quest. Without needing to get rid of your combat items, the quest is very simple. And even with it, it's not a huge complication. Just need to go through this door in this shed and be magically teleported to Xanaris. Plus 3 quest points. So that's pretty good. Xanaris is on the moon, so that's something. But now that we're here, we can get started on the next quest. Hey, Father Ernie. I need my ghost speak amulet back. And luckily, he has a spare. Be more careful this time? I don't think I will. I don't think I will. Interestingly, this next quest that involves Xanaris doesn't start in Xanaris. So I am free to leave there for now and get all the items I need. Should be fine. I'm going to be taking my farming spade with me, but now seems like a good time to stock up on the rest of the farming supplies. Rake, seed dibber, secateurs, gardening trowel, watering can. Want some compost? It's just regular compost. I'll take it back. Okay. Ultimately, I'm going to want better compost than regular compost. But I'm not exactly getting deep into farming quite yet, so not a huge deal. Also need to bring the secateurs with me. So it's going to be quite the exchange here with the tool leprechaun, which I need the bank pin for. No. Bank pin, in quotation marks. Okay. Store the rake, and the seed dibber, and the watering can, and the compost, and the trowel. Take the spade. I think that should be everything we need. Check, 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 check. Well, not everything we need, but we will get to that. Quest starts down in Draenor, so that's not too far of a run. With Martin, the Master Gardener. Which we could technically accidentally pickpocket, so let's try not to do that. He even mentions that we might have been pickpocketing. Pretty sure we haven't, though, so that's just a generic message. Must have confused me with someone else. I'm wearing full graceful, so I look pretty similar to other people. Other people might be in full rogues, though. But anyways, there's some problems afoot with the farming crops. They're not doing great. And that's not good for a master gardener. Fewer produce, disease running rampant. Problematic. I haven't seen any of these supposed effects since all of my farming experience is from pushing a plow back and forth. But he is the master gardener, so I'm sure he has a good idea of what's going on. So he is entrusting me with figuring out what's going on with all the farming stuff. And his suggestion is to start talking to other gardeners in the area. So we're going to run from patch to patch, asking them what they think the problem is. Frizzy Skurnip is our first gardener we're talking to. And they say there just hasn't been enough rain. Can we do anything about more rain? Not really. So if it's going to be like that, we're going to have a hard time fixing the problems. But maybe we can find something we can actually deal with as an answer from one of the other gardeners. Elston says the problem is insects. I think we would have a better chance of dealing with insects than rain. If they're large enough, we could do a slayer task of them. But I somehow doubt that the insects that they are concerned with are calphites, so we will continue on to see if anybody else has ideas. I could have teleported here. Anyways, Taria is another member of their group of advanced gardeners. And it's obvious that the problem is adventurers planting crops, digging up their crops. Which is a weird thing to think about, because everybody's crops are in the same patches. Not gonna worry about that. Be a very different situation if only one person could be growing a crop in each patch at the same time. Luckily, that is not how they did farming. Alright. Any other options, Haskell? I've chosen the wrong option. The seasons are out of whack. Okay. The seasons. Again, much like the rain, not something we can do much about. I can stop farming and do a Calphite Slayer task. Beyond that, I'm not seeing too many solutions here. Let's try one more person. Okay, Elaine. Please give me something to work with here. The crops are failing. And we've gotten a whole bunch of information from, and I quote, a bunch of loonies. Lack of rain, plagues of insects, seasons are confused. Not much we can do about that. But he has a theory that they're all connected. And the answer is the fairies. They control everything in nature. So if we're having all these different problems, they could be involved. Character does not seem to be very supportive of this theory. But at this rate, don't think we're going to find much more information. So it is back to Martin. Okay, Martin. Your group are some pretty wacky people. We've got a variety of options here, none of which make too much sense. But he says we should just go talk to a fairy about it. Weirdly, since we were just at the home of the fairies, we're being very dismissive of this idea of talking to a fairy. Where would we find one? And then we're like, oh yeah, we actually do know where that is. This is being very rude. He's like, go talk to a fairy. Ha, where would I find a fairy? Oh yeah, I do know. Sometimes you worry about you. So we just need to head to Xanaris and get to the bottom of this. Naturally, we should start from the top and talk to the Fairy Queen. Except, she's not here. Where's the Fairy Queen? What's going on? Some more dialogue that really only makes sense in context. The Fairy Queen would have been here when Xanaris was released, but with the release, or possibly just with the start of this quest, the Fairy Godfather is now here. We really should not have any information about the Fairy Queen being here, since we never actually saw her. Suspicious. Anyways, we want to know where the Fairy Queen is. Well, she is sick. We need to go and find her. With Fairy Nuff, who lives north of the bank. An easy enough task. Right over here, at the other side of Xanaris. There's the bank. And right to the north, here is Fairy Nuff and the Fairy Queen. She doesn't look like she's breathing. So, well, that's not ideal. I've been sent to talk to you and offer my assistance. Then we go through this whole spiel of how we're supposed to help. We are not a mighty healer, not a great druid, not a shaman, not a surgeon, not a doctor, medic, or nurse. We did pretend to be a doctor once, but all we did there was give people food poisoning and then kill someone, so not the best. We're an adventurer. She's not impressed. But we might actually be just who she needs. An enchanted sleep without the Fairy Queen. From her battle with a Tanglefoot. We've got a list of the symptoms. And we need to use some kind of magic to help. The person we need to talk to is Xandar Horfire. Because he is a expert in magical illnesses. And we can find him at the Dark Wizard's Tower near Falador. That is an easy enough task. I don't know how much I would put trust in Dark Wizards, but he's the best, so here we go. The symptoms are extremely weak, slow discorporation of ethereal body, drifting into and out of coma, shallow breath, fading magic energy, and a high fever. So, not great. So we're heading to the Dark Wizard's Tower with all its thorns and dark wizards. A much more inconvenient place to be if you're still at the level where the dark wizards can attack you. And he's up on the next level. There he is. Apparently has a good rapport with Fair Enough. So he is offering to help. Tanglefoot is a pretty big issue with this symptom list. Fairy Life Force is pure magic. And that is a problem here. The majority of her life essence has been drained from her by the Tanglefoot, or she did it voluntarily. So, at any rate, we definitely need to get that solved by killing the Tanglefoot. Sounds like a plan to me. And we're sent to our next person that can help. Malignus Mortifier, the Necromancer. He's fought a Tanglefoot, so he's got an idea of what we need to do. It really seems like we're going from bad to worse with the people we're getting assistance from here. Dark Wizards, Necromancers. What are we getting ourselves into? Anyways, let's go see what he wants. Okay. Malignus Mortifier. I need to fight a Tanglefoot. He knows just what we need to do. But first, he needs something from us. A bit of grave robbing. Go get a skull from Drainer Manor. And I am perfectly fine with this plan. Go get a skull? Sure. Why not? Sometimes you just do things. Don't question it. In the spooky manor grounds, here's the gravestone. Here lies Guy, he told a lie, so he swung him from the gallows high. Can't believe I'm about to do this. I don't know, I was pretty gung-ho about it earlier. But there we go. The Draenor Skull. Presumably those are the gallows that were used. Not your average garden feature. Indeed. So let's give this skull to a necromancer. Sounds like a great plan. Alright, here's your skull. How do I fight a Tanglefoot? He makes mushrooms more than undead. So I guess that's something we need to consider when dealing with a necromancer. He doesn't seem to be the most dangerous, so I feel less worried about giving him a skull. The item we need is the only item that can damage a Tanglefoot: enchanted secateurs, which we can get by bringing them to a nature spirit. We need to bring very specific items though: Joger bones, a king worm, and snape grass. Very good. Very acceptable. There are some absolute doozies that you can get in this list of items, but these three, very doable. So all we need to do is go get those things, and then head over to the nature spirit. Snape grass, very conveniently, we can get right here, right where we already are, over here on Hobgoblin Peninsula. So I will just yoink that nice and quick. Don't attack the hobgoblin, just take the snape grass. Easy. Then I will pop over to Ardoin, fill myself up on cakes, get my Artie cloak back, I guess. And then we can make our way to the other items we need, which are both easily collectible, not too far from Ardoin. Second item that we need is king worms, which are easily collectible in the gnome stronghold. Using the ever convenient spirit trees, we can get right over here, head up to the swamp in the northwest, and just pick them off the ground. Now, these are a food item, technically. So there's a possibility of the ghasts rotting them. So I'm going to bring 3 with me to minimize the chances that we lose all of them. Because then we would need to come back here again to get more. And that would not be efficient by any means. Not that a lot of things we do are efficient, but still. Save a trip, at least. So now all we need are the Joger bones. So we'll be sailing over to Karamja and hunting down a Joger. Okay, Jogers, I'm coming for you. Down in these caves. There's a Joger. We've got food, so even without a lot of armor, again, not a huge problem. Only level 53. So we'll be stealing their bones. No issues. Gonna eat, back up to full health, and then drop any remaining cake for that inventory space. Or maybe we're going to be able to eat the entire cake. Yes, we will. Well, that's okay. Joger bones. Take. And now we have everything we need to go to the nature spirit. Go speak amulet. Engage. The gas got one of my worms. Luckily, I brought more. We enter. There we go. Nature Spirit. What's up? He sensed that we need help making these enchanted secateurs. He has the capability. We have all the things. Let us begin. And it is done. Good luck in your coming battle. Magic secateurs it is. Drop this rotten food. I think we're ready. This is the boss-killing outfit of champions. So let's go bag ourselves a Tanglefoot. The battle with the Tanglefoot takes place here in the southern area of Xanaris. We can just go past this agility shortcut instead of walking all around. The gatekeeper will let us through because we have what we need. And it's just a quick run past the baby Tanglefoots up into the boss area. Now the Tanglefoot is level 111 and we have no armor. So we're going to be employing some tactics here. Baby Tanglefoot, would you get out of the way? We can get him nice and trapped here. Then we can go with a little bit of a flinching back and forth. We're waiting for the health bar to disappear. Attacking again. Oh, this baby Tanglefoot, I'd really like you to not be standing here, honestly. You're really in the way. Go away. Just get out of here. But yeah. Slowly but surely, we will chip away at him. Or I suppose, cut away at him. The damage you do here is based on your farming level, which is an interesting thing to have as a mechanic. 13 farming might help a tiny amount, but even with 1 farming, it's not a huge deal. But this is going to take a little while. Many slicings later, there are the Queen's Secateurs. Now we can get out of here. Another boss fight, very much in quotation marks. There's really only a few that are actually true fights. But I'm going to continue to make use of any mechanics that I can. That's just how it goes. Now that we have the Queen's Secateurs, we can return them to the Fairy Godfather. Not bringing them to the Queen, because reasons. The Godfather's in charge here, so here we are. Queen's Secateurs. Godfather. I did it. Quest complete. 2 quest points, 3,500 farming XP, which is pretty significant at low levels. 2,000 attack, 1,000 magic, and the magic secateurs, which are actually pretty good. 21 farming. That's the only level. These will allow us to get more produce, so definitely worth keeping those around. Well, keeping them in my tool leprechaun. But now, we can do Fairy Tale Part 2. All these levels are required for finishing the quest, but not for getting the best reward, which is an interesting design, which very much helps not needing to get 57 herblore and 49 farming. The thieving would be doable, but my goodness, herblore and farming. So let's get to it. Hello there, Martin. It's been a while, but I have solved all the problems. I've returned the Fairy Queen's magical essence. And now he's the one that doesn't think that fairies are real. I had a whole adventure. Killed a Tinglefoot. Everything should be great. He's going to check to make sure. That's a reasonable thing to do. Are your vegetables grown yet? No. Come back later. This is one of those times where the quest requires real-time waiting around for the next step to start. So while I wait for that, I'm going to go put my spade and magic secateurs in the tool leprechaun over here at the Falador farm. And then wait around. It's going to be great. Okay, Martin. You done yet? You must be the slowest gardener in the world. Apparently, things have not gone back to normal. Everything's even worse than before. And now, since we said we were going to fix everything, everybody's going to blame us. So now, we need to go fix this problem again. Fairy Tale Part 2. And unfortunately for everyone, we're not actually fixing the problem. We don't have the levels for that. But anyways, back to Xanaris. Just gonna go check in with the Fairy Queen over here in Fairy Nuff's little area. Oh my gosh, everything's destroyed. Everything's smashed. Like, to a comical level of everything is broken. And the Queen, and fair enough, are gone. You find some broken glass. Broken glass, broken glass. And a certificate. If we study the certificate, we can see some symbols on the back, which we need to decode to figure out what's going on. Talk to the fairy chef over here. They inform us that they've seen similar markings at the Cosmic Rune altar. So we need to head down there. Right back over near where we went in to fight the Tanglefoot. So we can once again use our higher agility to squeeze right on through this jutting wall. I would say we could make ourselves some cosmic runes, but one, we can buy cosmic runes, and two, we do not have a cosmic talisman, so we really can't. If we read the rune temple sign, this says Cosmic Rune Altar, which is enough information to decode the message here, giving us everything we need to find the Fairy Queen. Bring this information back to the Fairy Godfather to see how we should proceed. The only important parts for continuing the quest in the message is the last bits. So the full message doesn't typically get decoded as much. But it does say that the Godfather attacked us, they've fled to safety, and these are the coordinates to find them. So, presumably, the quest is going to operate on the assumption that the character has actually decoded the full message and knows that the Godfather is involved. Where's the Fairy Queen? She's gone. Organize a search party. Do you know where she could have been taken to? The fairy rings. We must go after them. He gives us permission to use the fairy rings. And then, once we find her, we have to tell him where she is. Of course, we're not going to be doing that, because the message said that the Fairy Godfather attacked them. So, they probably don't want me to tell him where they ran off to. The coordinator is going to give us a little history lesson on the fairy rings. They allow teleportation all around the world using 3-digit codes. Then over here at Fairy Fix It, access to the fairy rings. Maybe. There we go. Now, we're able to use the fairy rings as much as we want. Let's just use the codes that are available from the message. Configuring AIR, DLR, DJQ, which doesn't actually even go anywhere, and then AJS. And that brings us to the hideout. Also, we brought a badger with us. That's a thing that can happen. Just randomly bring various things through the fairy rings. Pretty nifty. Fair enough, and the queen are here. We got the message. And the next step of the quest, we need to go get the secateurs that we gave to the Godfather, because he did not actually give the magic back to the Fairy Queen. Also, he's enlisted in an army of orcs wandering around Xanris. Not ideal. Everything is going poorly. Unfortunately, we were duped into helping the bad guys. Not going to be the last time that happens. But now we have our mission to go get the secateurs that we can't and won't do for a very long time. Instead, we're going to destroy the certificate and use this to teleport all around the world. There are dozens of locations we can teleport to, and also a few we can't teleport to because of quest restrictions. But I'm just going to go through unlocking tons and tons of places Some of them are invalid. Some of them aren't. We can get over to the lighthouse. This is one we can't go to, miscellanea. But overall, a ton of options are available to us. But the best one of all is combining with the Ardoin Cloak. We can come here to the monastery, recharge our prayer, and then right over here, near the Tower of Life, is a fairy ring. So now, we have easy access to this mode of transportation. At least during the times when we have a Dramen staff. So, many new options are now available to us. So that's pretty cool. And with that done, I'm going to do a bit of work with magic. Next time. Goodbye.